Welcome to a new podcast. I know what you're thinking. Another podcast. Well, this one is different. This one's called Kinstukuroi. This one's about your favorite people being interviewed. Find out how they broke down, if they've broken down, and most importantly, how they pick themselves back up. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of our new podcast, Kinstukuroi. We'll explain what Kinstukuroi is in a minute. Actually, we should explain it now. Kinstukuroi is this Japanese art form. It's an ancient Japanese art form where you take a vase, a priceless vase, and you break it. And when you put it back together, you strew all the seams with gold. So as Buchie said, our first guest, it's perfectly imperfect. This podcast aims to explore people who we look up to. Some of them are going to be creatives, some of them are going to be whoever, some of them are going to be people you know, and explore how these people made it to where they are. So I'm one of your guests. My name is Tulani. I'm a founder of a brand called the Rad Black Kids. I've been doing it since about 2014. Otherwise, I'm a genius. And this is my co-host, Peter. Peter, introduce yourself.
Hi, Peter Benedicto here. What do? I don't know, people. I'll figure that out someday. Yeah?
Peter's been in the industry for a long time. So, Peter, tell us what you've done in the industry. Just give us a little background.
Yeah, we'll let that be a mystery.
Peter is a Jedi Master. It's probably like a whatever belt you need for that. Anyone? No Jedi references. But our first guest, let's get down to it. Our first guest is Buchie.
Yeah.
Buchie, introduce the people. Let us know who you are and what you're about.
So my name's Alejandro Rodriguez, but everybody knows me as Buchie. I'm the founder and designer for a brand out of LA called Beautiful Fül. And it's been around since about 2013, and we're still going strong.
Buchie, tell the people why Beautiful Fül.
The name or the whole
Let's start with the name.
We kind of touched on this the other day.
Don't be afraid of being redundant, because the world wants to know.
So I mean, the why now is completely different from the why when I started. So the why right now is I've seen the power of being able to transform men's confidence in themselves based on what they look like. And for a long time, we had a store over in downtown, and I'd have guys walk in and say, "Oh, I saw you on Hypebeast, I saw you on Complex, I saw you," whatever. I decided to come in, and they weren't the coolest looking guys or the whatever. But
what years are these you had your store?
It was 2013 is when we opened the store. It was April 1st, 2013, and we closed it around the end of 2015, mid 2016. The area just got overrun with craziness.
Really?
Homeless people, drugs.
Wow. So safety issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, tell us where you're at now.
Now we're in the Arts District in downtown LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that started making me think about. And I like a saying that my mom used to tell me: if you look good, you feel good, you do good. And I saw the guys who would come in and they weren't sure they could pull something off, or no, I can't do that. I can't wear a leather jacket. It's why? You don't think you're cool enough? And the more that I kind of coached them or made them lean towards something, you could see them stand up straight and raise their shoulders up and oh man, I can do this. And I built these customers where a month, two later they'd come in looking like rock star artists, crazy cool guys. Like, yo, I got this girl's number. I took her out on a date. Now I have a girlfriend. Woo, 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 blah, blah, blah. And you can see, like, they built confidence and they've started careers in their, own creative fields and have grown. And, I thought that was cool that started to be my why because, like I think I told you the other day, you have to wear clothes. That's not an option.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to you what that clothes is going to say to the world. If you don't care, you don't care. That's fine. But if you do care, this kind of touches back to the original why I started. Like a lot of guys, I don't think. In my head, in my world, in my lane, I think there's two worlds. You have the high-end fashion, which to me, now it's changed, but to me it's always been too delicate, too trendy, I can't really say the word, but it's, I guess, delicate. Just feels right, It's like it's made well, but it's like flimsy fabrics because it's supposed to be sheen and flashy, and there's that, and there's the flash of it, which a lot of guys don't want to do. And then the other side was like the workwear, to me, which I love, but it's like I don't want to look like Paul Bunyan.
You mentioned that, and I think let's go into detail about your silhouette. So when we think Paul Bunyan, we're thinking oversized workwear, right? We're thinking
traditional early 1900s, like kind of workwear, American workwear.
So if you had to describe it to someone who will never be able to see what your stuff looks like, what would you say the aesthetic, the silhouette, what would you say differentiates you from the market?
I think we do modern Americana, and I think a lot of people don't hear the last A at the end of it. They just think modern American, but no, modern Americana. And that is any subculture, any kind of folk kind of group based in America from whenever until now. So it could go from workwear, military, skateboarding, hip-hop, but it's taking the classic pieces of that and making it, new again for today.
Like one of your favorite pieces you have is a motorcycle jacket, and we spoke about this. We spoke about my favorite leather jacket is a Perfecto.
Yeah.
And when I looked at your jacket, we spoke about how it was a little more street. That was intentional, right?
I don't like the word street.
Street connotates. I mean within the connotation
that you could wear it in the street and not like
you could wear it in the way that the modern male wears it. So street. I think I'm using it in terms of a colloquialism. Like that's what we call ourselves today. Yeah. Not street in the sense of streetwear.
Streetwear. Okay.
Yeah.
So So yes and no. That I guess I say no because that's just how I design. I try to. It's just a natural thing to make it more modern. I didn't really think about it, but it is. That is the point. Like I said, modern Americana. So it's like we lengthen it a little bit so it doesn't stop right at your waist.
I like that.
The leather's not as stiff. It's heavy, but it's soft. It's all from Italy. The zippers are all from Italy. The cut of the lapels aren't as big as like traditional motorcycle jackets. And it's symmetrical, which I personally like. There's like a lot of old vintage military jackets. Like you can only put your hand in one pocket, and the other pocket is like for tobacco or a gun. And it's like, yo, we're not
for a gun.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Peter, what drew you to Beautiful Fül? You hang out with these guys. You're always here with Alejandro.
Yeah, when I first met them, it was literally one jacket.
Where did you meet? Tell us about that.
Where did I meet you? I think it was
like you came to a dinner party at our house, I feel like.
No, it was even before that though. I think it might have been at the restaurant actually.
Maybe, yeah.
But his brother would always wear this jacket. It was a vintage upcycled military coat, and it was put together. It was all upcycled, stitched together. And I would always bug him like, yo, just give me that coat.
Yeah.
Like, I love this thing. He's like, oh man, you need to meet my brother. Like he's designing, he's thinking about starting a brand. I'm like, if he's doing this, yes, he should. And it's been a while now. And I remember when they first opened their store and officially launched the brand in 2013. It's been great, and they have been making quality product for years, and I think being as humble as they are as a group and as individuals, they're not flashy and noisy and trying to be in front of the camera per se. But the quality of the garments speak for themselves, and now I think it's time that people start to take notice at the end of the day, and then really show the brand the respect it deserves, I feel.
Speaking about that, why aren't you in front of the camera? I've noticed, I've been on your Instagram numerous times, and there's just Buchie doing something every 10 years. Like, what's the story, though?
That's just never been my personality. Even growing up, like, my brother took the forefront, my brother and sister, and I kind of just stayed back. Like,
really?
That's just not, I don't know, it's just...
But you're putting things onto people who are recalibrating what their personality is like. As you're getting better season after season, even if the stuff I've seen, it's getting to a position where you seem like you're more comfortable with the way things should look. That's kind of antithetical to what you're saying, wouldn't you say?
I'm comfortable with the way my clothes look, but it's like a basketball coach. A basketball coach isn't necessarily the best basketball player. So it's and I feel like therapists too are some of the ones with the worst relationships. So it's kind of like I know things about myself, so this is why I'm able to help other guys do it through the way they look. You feel me? Like, and that's like my art.
Makes sense.
But that's pretty profound, though. Let's rewind. Therapists have some of the worst relationships.
But they'll never tell you.
They won't tell you. But how did you get to realizing that?
Even with my friends, like when they ask for advice, like everybody's like, "You give the best advice." Can I take it? No. But I know myself. Like, I'm very aware. I'm very self-aware. I'm very, like, I think a lot. I think more than I should. I think about what other people think about. I think about what they should be thinking. That's just like, that's how my mind works. And I just see these things, like, and it's, if I used, I guess, my gift for me, I feel like I'd be selling it short, like, it's for other people.
I see.
Yeah, it's cool.
So it's easier to look out than in.
Yeah, for sure. Isn't that with anybody?
Not necessarily. I mean,
I definitely don't think a lot of it's like that.
No.
Definitely.
Why?
I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one.
I mean, but so your sister came to the studio. I was in the studio the other week, and your sister's a singer.
Yeah.
What was family life like? Your brother has the restaurant.
It's crazy because I feel like I remember everything, but I don't remember growing up. Like, it's weird. Like, I remember little pieces of stuff, but we were with my mom all the time, and she's creative. Like, my mom wanted to be a designer, but she had 3 kids, so she cut that off. But
you guys are all born and raised here in LA, right?
Born and raised in LA.
Okay.
She's from Fresno. My dad's from Mexico.
Okay.
So my dad's family started a restaurant in, I want to say, 76. Yeah, about like 74 to 76.
Taco Tuesdays at Gilbert's.
Here, what's the address? Let's throw in a little plug, man.
2526 Pico Boulevard. It's called Gilbert's El Indio, Santa Monica, California.
This is in Santa Monica, so I hope you guys are there for Tuesdays. They have tacos that are great.
Yeah,
please proceed. 76.
My dad was working all the time, like, and not to talk bad, but he was just not around. It's like he was just working to provide for the family. It was his business, and he always said, if I'm not around or my family's not around to take care of it, who's gonna take care of it? Like, what, the waiter, the chef? Like, no, they don't care as much as I'm gonna care. And I guess he, without knowing it, kind of led by example. So now I'm like, work, and I'm never around. I'm always here. My mom kind of just like art and fashion and music, so she we'd go to museums and she'd be listening to Sade, and my sister would be singing in the back, and we're like going to the, so it was just like, it was very creative. But she wasn't like the type of mom to be like, you're gonna be a singer, you're gonna be a designer. I think she just kind of exposed us to what she liked, and we picked up on it.
Nice.
But it's interesting that as a male child you went after the art and the design and not necessarily the restaurant.
Yeah.
So it seems as though you pulled equally from both parents, right?
Yeah, well, I don't like people. There's no way I can work at a restaurant. Like, I just cannot do the customer service, talking to people stuff.
But I'm going to pry for a second. For a guy who doesn't remember much from childhood, that's a pretty explicit memory.
I mean, that's like the gist of it. I just don't remember, like,
ins and outs.
Yeah, and like we used to go to blah blah. It's just, but that's the main chunk of it.
So you spent a lot of your life observing. It sounds like.
Yeah. And I didn't. I'm just now realizing that. I thought this was normal, and I'm like, shit.
No, it's not.
This is not normal. I think way too much, and I look at shit way too deep. But yeah, my whole life I've been like that.
That's quite interesting. Did you distill that idea?
No, not yet.
Curiously, I'm waiting for it.
Oh, come.
No, I mean, it's... So, we have to mention at this point that Buchie is a big reason why this podcast came into existence. Because the other day, my over-curious self started asking him just a string of questions about his business. And I feel like the gems that he dropped were probably things that people need to think about, because we went down this rabbit hole of why beautiful. Mm-hmm. So first we asked about the name. So now let's ask about the ethos.
Beautiful Fül?
Mm-hmm.
The ethos of the brand, or still like the name? I mean, we talked about like the why it started,
right.
So
sure. I want to know about the why of now, because now there's a piece that's my favorite piece in the next collection, if I can talk about it. It's a suede puffer, and this thing, the silhouette is insane. This is probably my favorite piece that's been done of anyone of all time, and one of the reasons why it's my favorite is the collar stands upright. So you have shape right from the waist all the way to the tip of the goddamn collar. But, sorry, I lost myself. sorry. Shit is intense. No, so what's happening now? Like, where's the brand at now? Where do you see it going? Where do you want it to go?
Well, like you mentioned earlier, I'm way more comfortable now doing what I like and what I want to be part of the story. I'm not so focused on kind of doing what people tell me I'm supposed to do, or what they think I should be doing, or what, like, another version of what's out on the market that's hot right now. So that, I think, is the biggest thing, I guess, going on with the brand, is like the security in, like, knowing what we do is cool.
Yeah.
Like, and it's been like that for a minute, but I was so focused on other things, yeah, sure, that I didn't realize, like, damn, they did this because I did it. Like, I'm not doing it because they, it's just like, I don't know, but now it's just
So you were seeing a lot of that, let me guess.
Yeah, I've seen it since we started. It was crazy.
How does that, as a designer who's not paying attention to the trends, and quintessentially you're creating the trends, how do you feel when people ride your wave?
Well, no, I pay attention to them, and that's the thing. It's not so much like creating trends, just like, because I don't ever go on anything that hard where I would create a trend, because I feel like, I even hate saying this, but like, sure, I'm like a real artist. Like, I'm not just saying, I want this jacket, make it for me. Like, I do something and then I get sick of it real quick. So I never make anything a lot to where people are like, oh, that's a trend. But I see special pieces that I do then end up in other collections, and they take it to that level. Okay, well then let's do it in 10 colors, and short and long and blah 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 blah. You know, so
Does that scare you? That constant need to create. It sounds like it's natural. Does that scare you, having that energy, like to always put out?
it used to. I mean, for the longest time, it scared me when other people would. I don't want to say copy, but like reinterpret my ideas. But now I'm like. And this shit, now I'm tripping up. It's like I want to say like this is like what I do, so it comes naturally. So I don't, not to say, I mean, I hope it never happens, but I don't feel like I'm ever gonna run out of ideas because what I'm doing is not pretend. It's me, and I'm here. So as long as I'm here, I'm gonna keep, and I'm not trying to do anything for what other people think is cool. I'm doing what I think is cool. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the difference.
So let's.
What happened?
Okay, we're perfect. We're back on. It just paused for a second. Scary. So let's fast forward. So let's say 5 years from now. Where's Buchie? Where's the brand? Because the reason why I ask this is remember we talked about the product life cycle. Mm. So the people that wear Beautiful Fül are usually artists, musicians, people who are actively engaged in being creative or aspirationally creative. So by virtue of you pumping out products, ignoring trends, you're right on the beginning of the product life cycle. You get the early adopters, maybe the early majority. 5 years down the line, if we're saying that product life cycle is continuous, do you see yourself staying in the same place, or do you see yourself moving up towards the majority?
No, I don't. I look at it as more of like another thing my mom always used to tell me. She's like, before you try to grow as a tree tall, you got to plant your roots, right?
I see.
And roots go in and they go wide, and that's what I think is going to happen with us. It's like we're not trying to reach up the majority and get like these people who once they wear it, they're like, oh, this was cool for 2 months, now I don't care about it. I'm trying to go wide and get all the people who like are like-minded and not necessarily designers, but like you said, musicians, artists, directors, creative directors, things like that, where they're always thinking about creative things, and it's kind of like the same pattern. So it's like the world is getting more creative. Like there's more jobs that I feel like creative men are taking. Like, it's not so much about being a banker anymore. Like guys are like, fuck it, I want to write poetry. Go do it. So I think that with that community growing bigger and bigger, that's where we're gonna go. It's just wider. I don't think it's necessarily like a up to the masses kind of thing. Like that's another thing I've never been every time somebody would try to tell me what's cool growing up, I'd do the exact opposite.
But would you do the exact opposite because you consider yourself a contrarian, or would you do it because it just didn't feel good? It just didn't feel good. I didn't like being told what was cool. And sometimes I'd be like, oh yeah, that is cool, but for the most part, that shit was corny. And I knew it, and I just couldn't go along with it.
Couldn't get down with it.
And it even started getting to the point, like if I saw a billboard for Snickers, I'd go buy 3 Musketeers.
I'm a Snickers guy, though.
That's pretty intense. Let's rewind again for a second. You mentioned something that was so interesting, and I think it's your demeanor when you said it. You're talking about people biting, and it seemed like your answer.
I didn't say that word.
Oh, you didn't say biting. I'm the one who's saying it. Look, I'm so sorry. I'm the one that's saying that. He did not say it. You seem pretty zen about that. You seem pretty zen about setting the thermostat, shall we call it, within our industry. You seem pretty at ease about it. You want to talk about that?
See, that's the thing. Like, I don't set the temperature. I know that I spark the minds of a lot of these people. Like, what I'm doing, they see and they're like, oh shit, he's on to something, let's make that our own. And because a lot of dudes are bigger and they can do it real quick, like knock it out like that. But like I said, I don't worry about it anymore. It's like, what are you gonna do? Like, can't do anything about it. I'm supposed to hide? Like, nah.
I had one of my designs one of these concepts. So we did this stuff with vintage patches. Military was trending. So within my world of doing the simple stuff, tees, hoodies, we did this collection, and I shot it in Poland. And the reason why we did Poland, so we did like an army tee, and then we used these old military patches. And you've seen that famous image now of the person holding the gun with the girl putting a daisy down the barrel.
Yeah.
The patches were done with a machine that doesn't exist, and it was a plant-based dye. So the idea was I was going to Poland for a friend's wedding, and we went to Warsaw. Warsaw was leveled after World War II. There was nothing there. The old town in Warsaw was reconstructed from this one photographer's pictures.
Oh, wow.
They rebuilt the entire old town. If you go to, there's this hotel called the Novotel. We stayed on a high floor. The Novotel is so high, when you look down into apartment buildings, you see that they built up around World War II rubble. In the middle of the buildings is complete decimation. So the idea was to film this thing. And I remember wearing it walking around Warsaw because it feels gloomy. There's this giant Stalin building in the middle of downtown. It's crazy. So we're walking around. I'm wearing the shirt that says Army with a flower. And it was so interesting watching people who are completely in their own world. There's a black dude, not a lot of black people in Warsaw. There's a few. But it was interesting seeing people react to the shirt. Then I remember maybe a year later seeing a major brand taking the Army logo, emblazoning it with flowers, being on the internet and watching someone being interviewed and watching them take that idea. I don't think I've ever been zen about that. I don't think I don't think I've ever sat back. I don't think I've ever looked at how much thought I put into that. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this has been happening since 2013. So I used to get pissed off. I used to try and post it on Instagram side by side, like, look at this shit. But after a while, it's like, what can you do? You just learn to.
So, Buchie, as a minority designer, how do you think that space is? I would say you're in high fashion, men's fashion. How do you think the space is pretty open to cats with different on the margins like you? Like when you go to Paris, how is that?
For me, I would growing up in LA. It's never been for me, and I never felt different than anybody. So I don't see it like I'm a minority designer. I'm just a designer. And it's never felt weird going to other countries and doing my thing. I mean, most of the time people don't even know what I am anyway. I get spoken to in crazy different languages all the time.
Really?
Yeah. So it's.
Yeah, and also I think recently designers have just more becoming face of their brand at the end of the day. I don't think it was a thing unless you were at a house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even back then, no one knew Chris Van Ash was at Dior in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Very true. I mean, you only knew about
unless
the
you were
big guy,
right.
and mostly if they were doing women's wear, not even the men's wear designers. You knew Tom Ford because he was doing Gucci, for women, and but yeah,
But I think now, just going back to the transition of what fashion is now, it is going to denim and real clothes that men can wear. At the end of the day, it's not this delicate product.
Yeah.
So I think the market has just opened up to the idea of men wearing high fashion brands in a street way. At the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because you can still talk about Kim Jones at Dior and how he's still using some elements like with Yoon Ambush and Matthew Williams. They're still using some elements that are hard and technical. But I was looking at this guy at Coachella who was wearing a Dior, the same print they have on the sneaker, the Converse-looking sneaker?
Oh, yeah.
He had that in a lace tank top. And so it was laced and it was printed with Dior all over it. So watching him, I think it was Brad Goreski, watching him wear that, and on his bag was a bag with this military, with those technical clips, with the technical buckle, and then white pants, and then a white hat. So it seems like the way I've noticed fashion moving the last couple of years is it seems like androgyny is becoming like a serious consideration. Because at your last sample sale, I noticed there was a girl putting on one of the leather jackets, and it didn't seem like fit was as much as a consideration as quality. Do a lot of people get specific about fit? Like if you're fitting ladies, do a lot of ladies come in?
Lately, we've been actually selling to a lot of women. But that's the thing. I feel like it's easier for a girl or a woman to wear men's clothing than it is for men to wear women's clothing. First of all, just because of size,
right?
Yeah, we do get a lot, and like I said, because of size, women are cool with it being oversized. But that's the thing. Our clothes, fit is very, like, if not the most important thing, like it's top 3 to me. So the fit is always going to be on point, you know. So it's, even if it's a little big, it's not like just a big trash bag.
Yeah,
like
sure.
Shape to it.
Yeah.
So it's not a Paul Bunyan fit.
So top 3. So what are those top 3 things?
First is quality. I mean, and that's all around, like fabric, sewing, and construction. All that stuff is the same. But that is the number one, quality. You know. I guess second would have to be fit. Yeah. And then the third is, like, to me, I don't know if people get this, but like authenticity. Mm-hmm. You know, so I don't like putting a patch on a pair of jeans that is like on your fucking ankle. Like, why is that there? You didn't rip your ankle and put a patch there. Like, if you're gonna put a patch, put it on your knee or your thigh where stuff actually rips, you know? Right. Or like, if you're gonna have whiskers on denim, put it where the jeans bend, not going reverse, like, you know. And that's the weird thing with high fashion. They just want to be so different that they make shit look weird for the sake of it. So I guess that's the third one, like authenticity in like the way clothes naturally, I guess, wear over time.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like the jacket you're wearing. So for the people who can't see it,
you guys need to see this.
You guys really need to see this jacket. So this jacket, tell us about it. It's made out of multiple pieces. Is it multiple legs?
It's so we collected the legs of cut off jeans, you know, because girls turn the jeans into jean shorts. So I found a guy who's collected them for the last, I don't know how many years, and so we bought a bunch of them off of, turned them into fabric. From the fabric, cut a denim jacket, and sewed those panels together. So within each pattern piece, there's maybe 2 or 3 different shades and pieces of denim from jeans from, I don't know, the 60s all the way up until now.
Is it the drama that you like of creating a piece like this? Is it the craftsmanship? What is it exactly?
The craftsmanship for sure, because this thing all has to be hand cut. You can't cut it on a machine because it skips around because of all the seams.
Sure.
I love indigo. I'm not like I wouldn't say like I'm a huge jean head where I wear like 24-ounce denim and it has to be whatever, you know. I'm not about to do that. But I love indigo, and I love the way it lives and like fades over time. So I think the different shades in this are super, super cool. And you can see, like, you know, this was a pant leg, and you can see where they creased it right there. You know, just that's another thing. And then it just looks cool. Like, it's different. And that's the thing. It's like it's not where it's like a completely different silhouette. It's a denim jacket, but you know when you see it how different it is and how special it is. And I think that's what I like. That's what I try to do with all of our pieces.
Nice.
This is going to seem like a question out of left field. So give us 3 people you look up to and why you look up to them.
In the fashion industry, or just
any industry, anyone?
Ralph Lauren, number 1.
Wow.
He's been able to tell basically the same story for 50 years, but still keep people interested. And it's that American story. And, you know, it's whether it's ranches in the West or, you know, Upper East Side, like rich dinner parties, or
in Aspen.
Yeah, it's skiing in Aspen, or taking a yacht out to wherever, Martha's Vineyard. You know, just it's this like glamorous American lifestyle. I mean, granted, not everybody gets to live like that. Like, shit, most people don't get to live, but it's aspirational. You know, it's something that I think it's aspirational, but it's still like the look is attainable. You know, especially because he's been able to make it so wide. Like, it's not that expensive anymore for somebody to buy it if they wanted to live that life. Plus, he's been able to do the whole home goods and like
double RL.
Yeah, double RL. Like, I just think that's rad. Like, and he just seems so cool. Like, he wear cowboy boots and a tuxedo jacket. Like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah. Who's your second?
That's tough, man. Like, I never talk about anybody like outside of fashion or. But recently, and this is weird. Recently, our last trip to Paris, Tomas and I, we went to the Picasso Museum, and I never really paid attention to Picasso because for me, it's like everybody talks about Picasso. My ex-girlfriend had a stupid ass Picasso tattoo, so I was like, fuck Picasso.
Some animosity,
but
a little bit.
Going there, like, you go there and you're like, okay, it's Picasso, right? It's all crazy, but then you think about when he was doing it and what everybody else was doing. It's like, holy shit, he had the balls to be like, nah, this is what I'm doing, and I don't care what you say, and really rolled it with it for his whole career, you know. And it's like, that's fucking tight. Like, he created something new, didn't give a shit what anybody thought, and roll with it, whether they say yes, no, that's cool, that's whack. And he's like one of the most famous artists in the world now, just because he believed in his gut idea, you know. Like, I think that's fucking rad. And so that museum kind of inspired me to do a collection that was based on like painters and whatever, so, you know, like paint splattered clothes and whatever, but again, authentic. I don't like seeing jeans with just a bunch of crazy splatters on it, like you just like drop the paint bucket. Like, nah, if there's paint, it looks like you painted in that, you know. So
you went to Boyle Heights for that, I think.
Yeah, so I have some artists out there who, like, they will do a one by one, like, same guy, and he just, you know, just practice a bunch of times and finally just go.
Why him?
Nice.
Because he's not a fashion guy. He's not looking at like, oh, look at these jeans are gonna be cool if we put whiskers on them. It's like, he sees the art in what I take him, and he's good at replicating the art instead of trying to create a fashion piece.
You know, we were speaking about this with John. John is the silent gentleman behind the camera. John is a member of the Rad Black Kids. But we were speaking about strategy. And we're talking about your strategy can be linear, right? Linear is, hey, we're a fashion brand. Let's go and find an influencer and put clothes on it. Or non-linear, where you go and find someone else who's tangential to your industry, someone who might not even be in your industry, maybe like the artist in aesthetics. So you go and find someone who you just believe in their message, and then you put your stuff on them, and then have them promote, not necessarily promote, but have them, you know, have your brand be something that rotates around the world. Is that the way you see your own business? Like, in terms of running it and getting your message out there?
That's the toughest part of the business. I don't really think about all that stuff. It's like, it's too much for me to think about at that point, because then, and this is probably bad business on my end, but like, when my art becomes something that's like to play with, to like promote, that's when it's whack to me.
Really?
You know, and that's when it's like, that goes back to the whole Snickers shit. I don't want to fucking see a Snickers billboard, just like I don't want to see my shit just blasted all over, like, for people who don't really care. Like,
sure.
It's just, oh, well, let me just put it in whatever. You know, it's like, so that's not my lane. I don't think about that stuff, so it's very hard to talk about it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry, there's this guy who's supposed to come in, and now here I am trying
It's all
to.
good.
Yeah. No, so that's.
I'm more of a fan and a listener right now that I am participating in this thing.
You know what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask.
Turn the AC off.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I turned it off.
No, that's okay. Yeah, it's a little chilly in here. The studio is nice and sizable. Buch, we're supposed to naturally take the slide and roll right into the next question, but we haven't quite done it yet. I haven't been able to break you. But I'm kidding. Not really. But a good question. Has there been a time because you did sneakers before Beautiful Fül. Has there been a time in either brand? Let's talk about Beautiful Fül. Has there been a time where you wanted to give up?
Yeah, every day.
Why?
Again, like I said, I think about everything, and probably to a point where it's dangerous for me.
Yeah.
But it's what is it? It's tough not having a boss. Like, as weird as that sounds, it's tough not knowing what to do and putting it all on yourself every single day, because you know that if something fucks up, it's on you. You can't say, well, my boss told me to do that, that's on him. Or, it's every single day, whatever it is, it's on you. So, like I was talking about the whole marketing stuff, how I don't want to deal with that. Like, I'm going to deal with the repercussions of not wanting to put, that shit out there like that. And that's going to be on me. And that's just why every day there's something. It might not be big, it might be something small, but like over years of doing it, things add up, and it's like every day you're like, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore. But I don't know, there's just something that I just get up on. All right,
keep doing it.
Going back. Like, that's what it is.
If you had to look at someone you care about who is doing something as great as this, and they told you the same thing, and let's say today was the day they were giving up, what would you tell them to keep going? Like, how would you help them? Would you try and help them?
And you said if it was like something great, like that I believe that was
something that you believe in.
I would try to keep them. I mean, it would depend on the reason. If they're just like, yo, I think I've maxed out, like I'm successful, I want to try something else, and be like, go, man, go do your thing, like you maxed out. But if it's coming from a place of like defeat, I would try to help. I don't know. It's all situational. I guess it'd depend on who and what they were doing, but for sure, I mean, like, shit's hard. Like, and like they tell you when you're young, if nothing worth doing is easy, and it's very true. And the older you get, all the shit your parents used to tell you really comes to you, and you're like, damn, I should have listened to them. Like, but yeah, I mean, thinking about what I would tell other people is a lot of the reason why I guess I haven't given up.
Nice.
That's interesting, man. I mean, I think perseverance is a very questionable thing, because perseverance in theory is great, right? Like the concept, once you're looking at the concept of, hey, just don't give up, keep going.
Yeah, I feel like I know where you're going with this.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in theory, it's
theory is cool, but when it gets to that point where you're trying to be the 52-year-old rock star performing at some smoky bar in like Ventura County, like, then
you thought about this.
Yeah, I've thought about this shit. Like, I don't want to be the 52-year-old rock star with like long gray hair and trying to wear leather pants and make a hit. Like, I'm not trying to do that. And it's just, unfortunately, like, I mean, not unfortunately, but, and I don't know if anybody believes in this shit. I do, but like, I'm a Taurus, my zodiac sign. Like, that is the like number one thing about us. We just will persevere and just like head down, charge, go. And so that that starts to turn into an argument between intuition and gut feeling, and just like how you said, like the theory, like like, I don't know, it's I think about it a lot. Like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Like,
so when you think about it, and you're saying a 52-year-old. So when Buchie's 52 now, where do you see yourself? Do you ever think about that part of things?
I don't think that far.
Hey guys,
How's it going?
What's going on?
hey,
What's going on, Shot?
what's up, brother?
How you doing?
All right, man.
Just finishing this up real quick.
What are you doing now? I'm getting out of
No problem.
Let me take a note of that.
Seriously listening more than I am participating in this thing. It's my first time ever doing this.
Really? Yeah, this shit is weird.
Perfect. Just got the edit. All right. So back to the chat. So yeah, you're 52 now.
Yeah.
Like in that, has there been? Do you idealize that? Is there like hope when you look at that? Are you optimistic when you see yourself at 52?
Yeah, I mean, like that. I don't know how this comes off or whatever, but I've always known that I'm gonna be good. Like, I'll be all right. I'll be cool. Like, and that's not necessarily like rich and famous, but just good. You know, like where I'm happy. So I don't really think about. I mean, everybody thinks about, oh shit, what if I fucking 52 and I don't have shit? But at my core, I know I'm gonna be cool, so I don't really think too much about it. So like all this is just kind of noise, like all the ins and outs of every day about the business, just kind of like whatever, you know. Like it sucks at the time, but if I really look at it like that, it's whatever. I don't know.
So one thing that I want to ask you, and this is more just for myself, not really for anyone, but I see a lot of people who want to do a lot of things because the things look great. I want to offer something unique because, yeah, of course, we are very optimistic about the way we do this, the platform, having people keep going, part of the reason why the name is there. But a lot of people tend to want to do a lot of things because they look really cool.
Stupid.
If you had to tell someone who just wants to be in fashion because fashion looks cool, what would be the reason? Like, let's say you wanted to speak to their soul and convince them, if they don't feel it, don't do it. What would you tell them? Is that a weird question?
No, it's a very valid question.
That kind of goes back to, you know, earlier you asked me 3 people that I admire.
Sure.
And I only gave you 2.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
The third one, I don't know why it came into my head, but Jay-Z. Like, and, you know, there's this interview that he gave, and everybody's heard it, but he talks about that white light, that hot fire, that right now, that cool shit, like the thing that everybody wants to get. He's like, you don't want that. It's like, it's not about that. It's about longevity. It's about building. It's about having more than just this one moment of like greatness, because that doesn't matter. Like, tomorrow's going to be somebody else. You know, the next day is going to be somebody else. And I would just try to explain that, I guess, to somebody. Like, if you don't love this shit, no matter how cool you think it looks or how big you might get at this moment, if you don't love it, that's just going to go away real quick. And it's going to hurt more going away if you don't love it. Like, you know, because it's like, you're like, well, I had all this money or I had all this shit. Now it's gone. Like, I don't know, you know. But, like, if you love it, you just know, like, I can get this back. I do it again. I could, like, you know. But it's that's not part of what's driving you. What's driving you is the love for
what it is.
Thing, for what it is. Yeah.
Right. No, that's dope, man. I think that's powerful to have Jay as your third, because I think I've heard a similar interview. Might not be the one that you were talking about. There was an interview where he talked about, like, what's the greatest tip you could give him, or what's a secret to your success? And he said just persistence. Just the fact that he never gave up. Because one day he wasn't Jay-Z all those years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
I think about that question. I think about it pretty often because I see a lot of people who meander into industries that don't necessarily belong to them, but just because of how great it looks, they'll invest time, they'll invest a lot of money, and they'll try and make something happen in something they don't really care about.
Fashion industry.
It's every creative industry,
right.
Really. Like, that's what it is. But I've also stayed away from telling people stuff unless they ask me, just because who am I to tell them? You know, like, who am I to say you don't belong in this industry just because, you know, like, shit, if you want to make the money, like, go ahead or make the money, you know, because they think that's what it is. Or if you want to go get the model girls because that's what you think it is, go try. You'll find out soon enough. Like,
So what is wisdom? How does Buchie get wisdom then? Sorry to talk about you in the third person.
I don't know how I do shit. Like,
do you think yourself into a position of, like, understanding? Like you're saying, you like to think a lot. Do you, like, find those equations for yourself on your next move, or
as far as giving wisdom,
as far as acquiring wisdom?
Experience. That's you could hear something every single day. It doesn't matter. Like until you go through it, that's when you can understand. It's like experience is the number one way to achieve wisdom. Whatever. I don't know. That really is what it is. I think.
From the experience.
Yeah.
You live and you learn.
Yep.
Peter, I mean, you've got a little experience.
Just a bit.
Yeah. But do you want to speak on that though?
You have to go.
Kind of gotta
Okay.
cut it.
Wrap it up soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a couple other episodes coming. I'll come around to this.
That'd be great.
We'll learn.
Buchie, we're ending. We're ending the episode. Unfortunately, your time is up.
There might have to be a part 2 for this.
I think there might have to be a part 2.
I'm down. It's always good to talk because, like I said, I think about even stuff when I say I'm like, shit. All right, that's gonna take me somewhere else.
You're listening like I'm in my car driving right now.
you wanna give us a shout out, or you wanna give yourself a shout out for a couple of things you're doing in the future that people should look out for?
Oh, there's some things.
Yeah, I'm not.
Let's see.
I mean, you want to hit us with the next collection? The next collection is some serious heat. You just want to keep it.
They'll have to see.
Yeah, you can't. I can't explain it. You got to just see.
Talk about humility. The man, Buchie, the brand, Beautiful Fül. Thanks for your time, Buchie.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. Pete?
Yeah, thank you.
Our illustrious theme music was done by the talented Busani Gazimbi. Side note, his EP just dropped on Bandcamp. It's called Still Waiting. Our production was done by Jonathan Hammer, the talented Jonathan Hammer, and Tulani Gazimbi. That's me. Our hosts today were Tulani Gazimbi and Peter Benedicto.